give it to Erna Carlin again, and we saw her on Friday in the series opener.
Yeah, and Carlin just has to trust her stuff, right? She was able to get a couple key outs in the first inning on Friday. The freshman from Hempstead going to face Jennings, Allo, and Hanson. Same top of the lineup for Coach Gasso. But, Chris, we're going to have some history on the line here today as Oklahoma seeks to have the longest winning streak to start a season in NCAA softball history, 35-0. Of course, just 5-0 in the conference now, with a big matchup against undefeated Texas next weekend. So we'll see how Oklahoma can kind of compose themselves and try to keep it as succinct as possible, because early game energy has not quite been there for the Sooners. They haven't been able to generate first inning runs like they usually do this weekend.
Yeah, and we're really nitpicking a team that seems to do just about everything right.
You have to, right?
Tiare Jennings, the leadoff hitter for Oklahoma, with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Erna Carlin, she will try and bounce back. Sammy Ward talks about her ability to be effectively wild. Doesn't want to be in the strike zone a ton against these capable hitters, but doesn't want to issue too many free passes. You go back to the series opener on Friday, Carlin had hit a couple batters and walked a couple batters, didn't allow a hit, but Oklahoma still was able to score a run.
And with a 2-2 count here, you have one more waste pitch available, but I'd like to see Carlin really test Jennings, someone who she struck out on Friday. Now a full count coming, and what Jennings has been able to do this season is just get on board in front of Jocelyn, right? That's all you have to do when you line up in front of the home run queen. Jennings herself, though, has hit 2 home runs this weekend, so Carlin's got to be careful with the 3-2 coming.
Yeah, both of her hits have left the ballpark. In total, Oklahoma's hit 10 through the first 2 games of this series, and there's strike 3 swinging. A little deja vu. You go back to Friday, that's how things started, with an Erna Carlin strikeout. And it's the rise ball that Tiare Jennings cuts through. Good start for the freshman from Hempstead, Texas. And now the big assignment, and it always seems to be when Jocelyn Allo steps in there. She had 3 home runs, surprisingly, for the first time in her Oklahoma career in the opener Friday, and then followed that up with another base hit yesterday. Takes the first pitch just off the outside for ball 1.
Well, Chris, what's interesting with Allo this weekend is the first at-bat on Friday for Jocelyn was a 4-pitch walk from Carlin. And then from then on out, I think the Texas Tech pitchers just realized, hey, we're going to test this superb hitter. And yesterday, Allo just 1 for 4.
Allo shoots one to the gap in left center field. A laser that one-hops the wall. She is on her way to second with a 1-out double.
That's something that we've seen this weekend, the ability for Oklahoma to use the gaps. We talked about Texas Tech's defense in the field all season long, Chris, and something that they have been able to do is run down every fly ball. Great plays by Blythe on Friday, robbing a home run from Talon Snow, who's actually out of the lineup in this afternoon's game. But it's impossible to catch a line drive in the gap, and that's what Oklahoma's been able to generate.
11th double of the year off the bat of Jocelyn Allo. And the first Oklahoma hit, no surprise, it's an extra base hit. Kinsey Hanson, a high fly ball, center field, way back there, Peyton Blythe can't get it. Just over her outstretched glove and over the wall. A sky-scraping 2-run home run. And 3 batters in, top-ranked Oklahoma takes a 2-0 lead.
And with those 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, Chris, you knew that Oklahoma was going to be skyscraping and searching for the long ball. They've hit over 90 this season, best in the nation. And Peyton Blythe, who had robbed 2 on Friday, maybe just didn't realize that she was running out of room, didn't even jump to try to rob it. Kinsey Hanson picks up her first home run, actually her second home run of the weekend, as you mentioned, 6th of the season for the Team USA member.
Here's Grace Lyons. She has 3 home runs this weekend. Hit a couple of them on Friday, another yesterday. 7 over her last 6 games during a big power surge. And I tell you, that fly ball that wound up leaving the ballpark off the bat of Hanson didn't look like it was going to get out off the bat, but a towering shot. It was high enough. The question was, would it be far enough? And the wind just pushed it over Peyton Blythe's glove. She thought she would have a play on the warning track there.
Certainly, and it's something that we've seen from Blythe time after time. And now we'll see Erna Carlin, who has allowed 13 home runs this season. Her ability as a freshman to bounce back will be tested here, because we've seen Oklahoma. They can stretch across and tile up and continue to pack on runs. It's the meat of this lineup. Lyons bumps up. All she's done this weekend is smash. A couple home runs, 3 of them, and she's reached 3 times via the free pass.
And she sends a drive to deep left field. Hello, Odessa! A no-doubt blast off the bat of Grace Lyons. Her 8th home run in her last 7 games. And the Sooners, with back-to-back jacks, they have put up a 3 spot in the first inning.
Marlowe's gonna have to watch out because Grace is on her case. Just 2 home runs shy of Jocelyn at the meantime. And Oklahoma, right now, Chris, teeing off. That was a smash. So much fun to watch this offense. And I can't wait for the Texas weekend coming up in a couple days when OU and UT take their Big 12 undefeated records on the line. But right now, this game slowly getting out of hand for Texas Tech.
That's the most runs that Oklahoma has had in a first inning this weekend. Had 1 on Friday, none yesterday. So back-to-back home runs. The first one just barely left the ballpark, and there was no doubt about that last one off the bat of Lyons. Here's Coleman. And a 2-ball, no-strike count. So for Erna Carlin, she has now allowed 14 home runs this year. Not an easy assignment against this Sooner bunch, and it hasn't been for anybody. 3 balls, no strikes on Coleman. And with how the last few batters have gone, you almost forget that this inning started with the strikeout of Jennings.
Very similar to what we've seen Oklahoma do in first innings. Now, yesterday, Sooners were held scoreless against the former Oklahoma transfer in Olivia Raines, and right now Molly Grumbo, not quite sure what you can say, right? I don't really know how to change the mentality of a freshman here when all you got to do is try to miss barrels. But Oklahoma's done a phenomenal job all weekend long finding the barrels and finding that airplane finish that, you know, we're still trying to find out. I'm sure there's a good story behind it, but all of them are cruising into the runway with quite ease here. Another 2 home runs on this Sunday.
Well, it's a 3-1 count now on Jada Coleman, who's gone 2 for 3 in this series. And works a walk here with 1 out in the first. So 4 straight have reached. Middle game of the series, her start against this Oklahoma team. We saw her embracing with many of the players after the game yesterday. It's emotional to kind of see everything come full circle against the team she won the national title with a season ago. And her job right now is damage control against Oklahoma.
Yeah, and what Raines did, not many pitchers have done this season. Hold Oklahoma to just 1 run through the 2 innings. Then that 3rd inning came, and the hit by pitch, a walk, things started to spiral a little bit. But all in all, until the 4th inning, Olivia Raines certainly was able to keep the down pitches down, and that's been her issue this season. She's very much a drop change, very much a ground ball pitcher, and you see a good drop ball there, gets the swinging strikeout by Elam. And if Olivia Raines can get into a groove here, Oklahoma's an offense that is a little streaky, right? They only scored 2 runs against UAB last weekend, only 3 runs against Baylor in the finale a couple weekends ago. So maybe it's something about the last game of the series for OU. However, when Jordy Ball's in the circle, they usually are able to mash.
Yeah, and 3 runs is plenty for Jordy Ball on most occasions. Boone after the first pitch, and she dumps one out to the gap in right center. Coleman can fly, and the throw is cut off. It's 4-0 Oklahoma. Another clutch 2-out run scoring hit off the bat of Boone.
And I love the way that Riley Boone approached that at bat, because you see Olivia Raines starting to get a little bit of confidence, starting to get a little bit of swagger, and on the first pitch she sees, maybe the juiciest pitch she will see, and a great opportunity for the slap hitter to just throw her barrel out, find a gap. I think Riley was thinking 3, and she wisely held up as Texas Tech was able to get it to the cutoff man. And now Oklahoma continuing to surge, finding that gap-to-gap power. Yes, they have home run power, Chris, but they're showing the gap-to-gap power here. Just a few days removed from that Tulsa win on Wednesday with just 1 extra base hit. So really showing that the Sooners are able to do it all. I don't really know how much we can, there are only so many nice things you could say about a team. It's going down the list.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. They do almost everything, not only good, but great. And they have now sent up almost the entire lineup here. Johns is the 8th Sooner to bat in the top of the first inning. 4 runs on 4 hits. All of the hits have gone for extra bases, a pair of doubles and a pair of homers. Jana Johns takes that one inside, 2-1. Texas Tech from here, they will head to Ames, take on a pesky Iowa State squad that picked off Oklahoma State in game 1 of a doubleheader yesterday, and nearly beat Texas in Austin last weekend as Johns has quick hands through the 2-1 pitch, fouls it, 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Coach. She has just absolutely changed college softball with her tenure at Oklahoma, more than 2 decades now. And what this program has done from the year 2000 on is completely changed its identity within the sport.
Oh, absolutely. What Patty Gasso has not just brought to the sport, but brought to the Midwest, and obviously with the national championship in Oklahoma City, the Big 12 championship out there too. There is just a love for the sport that I'm not sure could be bigger. And now, throw going into the dugout, just compounded issues as Texas Tech maybe had a chance to get out of the inning. I'm not sure if Johns is able to beat that throw anyways. And Oklahoma's lead extends by 1 more to 5-0.
So the error, and I'd imagine infield hit, looked like Johns would have beat that throw even if it was a good one from Ariana Villa. And so the Sooners make it 5-0. That is not being given a hit at all. Instead, just an error.
Yeah, it looked like Villa probably had a play on that. The score is, I believe, 5-0 now, so we want to clarify that here. And Oklahoma's going to send all 9 hitters to the lineup. But, Chris, this is very much tough for the casual fan to watch. You know, you don't want to mince your words, right? Oklahoma's coming out here, and against almost every pitcher they've faced this year, they have just put on a clinic. Now 9 will come to the plate. You have no idea how many innings in a row they could do this, and it really fascinates the eyes to see a lineup come up and truly make a team like Texas Tech, that maybe right in the middle of the conference, maybe in the lower half of it, but right now the Red Raiders have no answers.
Alyssa Brito, the batter. So a 5-0 lead for top-ranked Oklahoma. They've scored 2 of the 5 runs here with 2 outs in the inning. And it's because of the error. Well, and now they have given Johns a hit and the error, which I thought should be the case. That looks like another extra base hit. It gets stuck near the bottom of the wall before Armijo picks it up. Around third comes Johns. Oklahoma has batted around and scored 6 times in this top of the first inning. Well, Tiare Jennings struck out early in this first inning, leading off the inning, and well, only 1 batter has been retired since. Maddie Keel now in the circle, and her first pitch finds its way to the backstop, allowing Brito to advance to third base. An already massive top half of the first for Oklahoma has a chance to grow even more. The Sooners lead 6-0 and have seen now 3 different Texas Tech pitchers. Keel's 1-0 misses off the outside. Keel, the freshman out of Longmont in Colorado, on the outskirts of Denver, went to Silver Creek High School, and appearing in her 9th game of the year, her first since the conference's opening weekend at Oklahoma State. And there's the first strike. It is 2-1.
So Keel's got a normal delivery. Of course, the 6'1" frame does bring a lot more downward action, a curve, rise, and change for the 3-pitch arsenal, who did struggle in Stillwater. But right now, it almost feels like, Chris, you bring her out here, very little pressure. You know, you're almost expected to give up a handful of runs against this Oklahoma team. So we'll see what the newcomer can do, right? We saw Olivia Raines probably inject a little bit of confidence into the rest of her season with yesterday's outing. Now we'll see what Keel can do, given a pretty long leash, I would imagine, as Jennings, a couple borderline pitches there, and a well-worked walk. Once again, how many at-bats are we going to get from Alo today?
Yeah.
Could be 5 or 6.
It could be it, especially at this point. And Alo will get her second of this first inning, and it comes with a little bit of traffic on the bases. They're at the corners for the Sooners with 2 outs. Alo got this big inning started with a 1-out double to the gap in left center, then scored on the Hansen home run. A big opened up stance, requesting time. It is not granted, and she takes over the outside for a strike. More times than not, when the GOAT asks for just an extra moment to step out of the box, it is given, but in what's already been a long top half of the first inning, I guess you kind of understand why it wasn't in that instance. Here comes the 0-1, and it's low, 1 ball, 1 strike. 5 of the 6 Oklahoma hits, extra base hits. The only one that wasn't was that infield hit off the bat of Johns. Here's the 1-1. Alo right on it, fouls it back, 1-2.
You know what, Chris, is so impressive about Jocelyn Alo, because we've seen all of these power hitters, of course Chamberlain back in her day, but even over the last decade or so, the power hitters in college softball, they strike out a ton. Same as baseball, right? You swing for the fences, sometimes you swing and you miss. Jocelyn Alo has 11 strikeouts in 86 at-bats, the same amount of doubles that she has. She just has the eye of a sharp, and obviously you can compare her to Barry Bonds, the amount of walks that he was able to create, and of course intentional walks and all of that. But the home run king and the home run queen, a couple phenomenal pair of Hawkeyes.
There comes the 2-2 from Keel. And Alo, another foul back into the screen. Well, Jordy Ball has been sitting around watching her offense give her a big, big cushion before she even throws a pitch here in Lubbock today.
You can almost go about this as a simulated appearance, can't she, Chris? Getting ready for Texas on Friday.
It appears so. And Alo, a high fly ball, left field, way back and caught. Peyton Jackson, by Peyton Jackson, Carson Armijo. And the Red Raider half of the first. They'd like to get into the run column today as the appeal down to first. And no swing. Texas Tech, the bats have been stymied against Ball and Troutwine the first 2 games of this series. They've had some chances, but Oklahoma pitching has been able to wiggle out of any trouble they've worked themselves into.
Well, the reason why Abby Orrick gets the bump to the leadoff spot is, Chris, in 4 at-bats this weekend, Orrick has reached 3 times. She had that double in the second inning of Friday's game against Ball after Jordy Ball got called for the illegal pitch on a pair of strikeout pitches. So that'll be something that we've got to keep an eye on here with Jason Smith behind home plate, Kendall and Postel. Of course, the first base umpire's goal is to just stare at that rubber. You can kind of see Ball certainly has a little bit of a skip to her step.
Able to field her position and throw out Abby Orrick to open up this home half of the first.
So the #1 overall recruit in the nation, right? National Player of the Year out of Nebraska. Only has 1 outing this season, does Ball, allowing more than 1 earned run. That came against Tennessee, where all she did was strike out 16. Of course, the complete game against UCLA earlier in the year with 14 strikeouts. And something that Coach Rocha told me is Ball's able to command every single millimeter of the zone, is what she said. Goes in, out, down, up, changes speeds, and is so reliable with the drop-rise combo. Comes out of the same tunnel and the hitters are truly flummoxed.
And right back to ball again off the bat of Peyton Jackson. And that's 2 quick outs recorded by the freshman Jordy Ball, the preseason All-American.
We talked about that on Friday, right? To be named a preseason All-American.
And this isn't necessarily a sport where that's common. You have basketball, it's pretty common. You have one-and-done players that will play college for just a single season and then go on to play professionally and make lots of money just a few months after the season. But Jordy Ball, and she has absolutely lived up to it. A sub-1 earned run average, not quite the .10 that Troutwine probably has now after yesterday, but not a bad 1-2 punch into the postseason when we get there for top-ranked Oklahoma. That's why the Sooners are very confident they can defend last year's championship.
Tell you what, Chris, I think next weekend will truly answer a lot of questions that not many people have questions about Oklahoma, but if there are questions, a trip down to Austin, a fun little weekend there, matchup between Gasso and White, 6 o'clock on Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday, and then a midday game on Sunday. And I know I cannot wait for that showdown. Mentioned it a few times, but still, there's no way that you can overhype that matchup.
0-2 on Armijo. And she slices one towards the right side of the infield, caught by Jennings.
Raiders have the first, no
And
runs,
a free
no
and
hits,
easy
no
1,
errors.
2, 3. First inning for Jordy Ball. She exhausts just 7 pitches. Top-ranked Oklahoma takes a 6-0 lead to the second.
It's my ketchup. Yeah. Heartbeat? Like something dropped. No, we're young. I know it's ketchup. Die out, like ketchup. Yeah? I want to give you encourage you. Is that around? Never gonna give you up. Let you up. That is. See you there? I can sing this song.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air.
That's Maddie Keel, the 3rd Texas Tech pitcher in that circle today. Carlin started, then gave way to Olivia Raines. And now Maddie Keel, the freshman from Longmont in Colorado. Start at the top of the second.
I'll make a quick correction here. With Easter coming up, the Texas series against Oklahoma Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So even sooner, we'll get some Sooner softball against the Longhorns, which is going to be a little fun tussle after Texas showed a little vulnerability in the opener against Iowa State a couple weekends ago. They're off this weekend, though.
So Kinsey Hansen leads off the top half of the second for top-ranked Oklahoma. Maddie Keel issued a walk and then got Allo to fly out to the warning track in left field to put the finishing touches on a 6-run top half of the first inning for the Sooners. Hansen hit a towering fly ball that just got out of here to left center field for a 2-run home run to open the scoring back in the first, as she has to elude the 0-1 pitch. Oklahoma in that first inning, the Sooners banged out 6 hits and 5 of them went for extra bases. In the series now, Oklahoma has 17 extra base hits, 17 of the 24. Not too many singles hitters in this lineup. Riley Love throws out Kinsey Hansen, and for a second straight frame, Texas Tech has no trouble retiring the leadoff hitter.
Things only get harder, Chris, with Lions, Coleman, Elam. I truly think that, especially when Oklahoma can rest, right? You give Snow some regular days off. You're able to have Donahue kind of fill in. Brito pops in every once in a while. Today, Brito's out in the left, and it was a last-minute decision by Coach Gasso, who listed Allo as the left fielder. And then, with that 6th-run first inning, decided to instead send Alyssa out there, presumably giving Jocelyn another day off. No reason to, pull a hamstring or have any risk out in the outfield today on a blistery Sunday afternoon. Mid-80s right now with that 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
A 1-ball-1-strike count. Lions hit a no-doubt home run over the other wall to the trees in left field. Our 4th big fly of the series. All of them have been solo shots. This one on the ground, Love down to a knee and safe.
Just off the bag, it seems, from Bailey.
That was the call, and Bailey tried to do all she could to stretch, but Lions reaches again. Oklahoma has a 1-out base runner, and that is ruled an error.
Well, you know what? That's Lions, her 8th at-bat of the weekend. She's now reached all 8 times, but that's technically going to be an 0 for 1 in the scorebook for those keeping score until, it'll stay an error, it seems. To say until it changes, right? We saw a couple scoring clarifications here this weekend.
Yeah, it's almost tough to traditionally keep score with this Oklahoma bunch that seems to bat around at least a couple times every game. Coleman worked a walk, came around to score. That was her first plate appearance of the game. And she bunts. It's a good one, infield hit. Wow.
Chris, that was better than a bunt. It was like a swinging bunt with the drawn-in third baseman, Oric, just to push it by her, and it was a clinic in how to just pop that down the third base line.
So 2 on with 1 out for the top-ranked Sooners. They scored 6 times in the first inning. Maddie Keel has induced some pretty soft contact here in the second, but I mean, that's how good Oklahoma is.
Kept it in the infield, in fact. All 3 of the at-bats got out of the first inning unscathed, did Keel. See the wind blowing out. Straightaway left field once again. Chris, as we take a look through the schedule for Oklahoma, it's going to be interesting to kind of place and predict if that first loss will ever come. We talked about it on the top of the hour. This is the best start in program history at 35-0, tied for the best start in NCAA history.
Fly ball Peyton Blythe's way. She makes the catch. Lions tags up, moves ahead to third.
Interested to see if Troutwine will match up against her former team in 10 days in a midweek game after the Texas set. And hosting Iowa State midweek at Kansas City. Head to Lawrence to face the Jayhawks. And then maybe that final weekend, that could be the fun one, right? May 6th, 7th, and 8th against Oklahoma State. Stillwater was the site for the upset yesterday by Iowa State in game 1 of that doubleheader. That's where Oklahoma baseball's made some big noise this weekend against top 10 OK State.
How about that?
Took the first 2 already. I think both of these baseball sides are going for the sweep today with
they are.
Tech against Kansas State.
Yeah, the rare double home weekend where baseball's here in Lubbock and softball is also here in Lubbock. Boone knocked a run-scoring double to the alley in right center for only time. How about that spectacular catch she made going over the foul line to end the game yesterday?
That was a fun one. Certainly a weekend filled with web gems on both sides, right? Blythe with the 2 robbed home runs. Johns made a diving catch yesterday as well.
Slapped the other way. In there for a base hit. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. A wrong way double off the bat of Boone. And it's 8-0 Oklahoma.
Well, Riley Boone has certainly taken advantage of her opportunities. Now 5 at-bats and 4 RBIs on the series for Boone. She was 2 for 3 yesterday with a ribby. That's her 3rd RBI of this Sunday, and that gets Oklahoma to that 8-run margin. You're just in the 2nd inning, a season removed from 20-0 in the finale in Norman. That was against Texas Tech, of course. It was 15-0, 5-0, 20-0 in the 3 games last year between these teams. And then an 8-2 win in OKC in the pool play action in May.
Texas Tech trying to stop the bleeding. 2 more across here for Oklahoma. Boone has knocked in 3 of the 8 runs. Now Johns, who singled and scored in the 1st. Six in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, and Oklahoma is up 8-0. There's the 2-1, and Johns fouls it back, 2-2.
Two outs here for Keel, so a chance for her to get out of the jam. Yes, 2 runs have come in on a good piece of 2-out hitting by Boone. But if you're Texas Tech, you've got to just play it 1 pitch at a time. Focus on minor victories.
That's blasted over the left center field wall. Johns hits her 8th, and it's 10-0.
Well, that's Jana's first home run of the series. And as I say, you want to focus on 1 pitch at a time. Oklahoma continues to just absolutely crank it out of here. They're putting on a show for the many, many Sooner fans that made the trek down just over 300 miles.
Already the 3rd home run in this game for the Sooner Bats.
Place for the Sooners, number 33, Alyssa Brito.
Alyssa Brito knocked in a run with a double. Takes that one in tight. Well, Sooners are really good.
Not much answer for this offense. Feels like a 2-hour infomercial for the success of Oklahoma each of these 3 games, Chris, and certainly makes the job of the broadcasters a little bit tougher, doesn't it?
Well, as you're ready for your home run call just about every pitch. 3 balls, no strikes on Brito, and after Brito, Tiare Jennings in the top of the order. (10-0) Sooners. 2 outs, base is empty, top of the 2nd. And there's a drive. Hello, Amarillo. Another long, long home run. And for Brito, she hits her 7th.
Well, there's not much to say, is there? Oklahoma continuing to put on a home run derby. Mentioned a 20-0 win in the finale last year, and for Coach Sammy Ward, you've got to just try to convince your team to move on and keep on going. I think Oklahoma's season high this year is that 20 that they smacked against Iowa last month.
That will do it for Texas Tech. She'll try and stop the bleeding. It's 11-0. Top-ranked Oklahoma leads. 6 in the first, 5 in the second for the Sooners. And Tiare Jennings, who struck out and walked in 2 first-inning plate appearances. Bats with 2 outs, so the base is empty. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rancy Willis, a 4.42 earned run average. In limited time this year. 6 in the 3rd innings for Texas Tech, and looks like our plate umpire is requesting that Oklahoma stay in that first base dugout. I mean,
I think they're getting ready. Yeah, they're getting ready for another home run.
I mean, they got to stay on the top step with literally all of these hitters. I mean, 1 through 9, everybody's capable of hitting one well over the fence. Or at least that's been the case this weekend.
And for Rancy Willis, another basketball and softball standout in high school from Corinth. 6 foot tall, and she brings a lot more than speed, right? She's the deceptive style of pitcher. She throws it slower, a curve rise combo mainly. She came in to get the last out on Friday, as you mentioned, Chris. And maybe, just maybe, she can have these offensive juggernauts, a little off balance, but that rip is telling me otherwise.
Well, it got out to Peyton Jackson pretty quickly. Strong throw into second, but not in time to get the speedy Jennings. It's another extra base hit for Oklahoma. They have 11 hits in this game, 8 of them for extra bases. We'll keep the merry-go-round going, and here comes Allo for a 3rd time today. Allo has doubled and hit a fly ball to the warning track in left. So much depth, so many hitters that can hurt you even if Allo's not in the thick of the damage. I mean, Oklahoma in the blink of an eye has 11 runs today. Rancy Willis will try and get those Red Raiders back in the dugout. Middle of the order coming up for Tech when we get to the bottom half of this inning. 2-0 count on Allo. Maybe not a bad idea with the open base. Although, I mean, come on, it's like pick your poison. Hansen's on deck, and Allo whacks it foul, 2-1.
Well, Chris, 11-0 was the Virginia Tech lead yesterday on Florida State, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the Seminoles came back.
That's a great series. Virginia Tech's going for the sweep in Tallahassee. Virginia Tech wound up scoring 23 runs in that game yesterday.
Yeah, they put that one out of reach, didn't they?
23-9 of the football score. Fly ball center field. It is way back and gone. It's a joke. Allo, a 2-run shot. And Oklahoma has a baker's dozen in the run column. It's the top of the 2nd inning. Number 108.
How about an even 20 on the season, and now Allo is trying to separate herself just a little bit from Grace, isn't she? As Lyons has a home run today, Allo matches. This is where you kind of feel bad for the Texas Tech pitching, because you still have to get through the 3rd, through the 4th, and through the 5th before this game ends.
You knew Allo would join the party almost looked effortless. Flick of the wrists out to center field. Hansen is 1 for 2. She homered to open the scoring, a 2-run shot in the first. And then retired on a ground ball earlier this inning, but it feels like much longer ago. Oklahoma has now put up more runs this inning than they did in the first inning.
Well, in just under 50 minutes of gameplay, Texas Tech offense was out there for about 90 seconds, it felt like, in the clean inning for Ball. And you wonder if she will even pitch this entire game, right?
Might not need to. High pop-up. And Riley Love makes the catch.
Half of the second, 7
Top of
runs.
the, kind of put this one out of reach already as we go to the bottom of the second. 13-0 Sooners. For Texas Tech, kind of have to change up the mindset a little bit.
Get a run.
You won't make up 13 runs on one swing. Maybe put together some good at-bats against Jordy Ball. Look, playing Oklahoma, even if you lose lopsided as the Red Raiders have all weekend, it can make you better. You can learn a lot from playing a team this talented. Cliche saying goes, to be the best, you have to play the best, and there are quite a few of the best here in the Big 12 as Ellie Bailey bounces out to Johns. After a 7-pitch first, Jordy Ball needs just 1 pitch to record the first out in the second.
I like the aggressiveness, right? You don't want to get behind in the count against the high-powered arm of Ball. She threw 69 pitches in the 5-inning 2-hitter on Friday. 51 of them were strikes. She's thrown 8 pitches, and 6 of them have been strikes already. And now Villa, who moves back in the lineup. So the first game this season where Villa's hitting as far back as 5. She's been the leadoff hitter for Texas Tech all season long. But hitless with a couple strikeouts this series. Ward hoping that this can kind of spark something from.
Well, she's towards the top of the club in RBIs, so perhaps Sammy Ward trying to put her in a spot where maybe more base runners would be aboard. 1 ball, 1 strike on Villa, the sophomore from San Antonio, a .278 hitter with 3 doubles, 2 triples, 5 homers, 22 batted in.
Couple changes in the outfield for Texas Tech as Brito moves from left to right. Boone shifts over to center. Coleman is done for the day, it seems, as Donahue comes in for Coleman, and she filters into left field.
A 2-1 count on Ariana Villa. Texas Tech will spend the next couple weekends away before wrapping up the home schedule against Texas as April becomes May. Outside edge. 2-2. Be fascinating to talk to some of these Oklahoma players and just what it's like to play in games like this day after day, night after night. They know that it's going to get tougher, but it just hasn't yet for them as Villa strikes out swinging. Well, we mentioned that Texas series. We'll see if that brings any competitiveness. Obviously, the Oklahoma State series, you figure, 2 real contenders, should be a good one. 2 rivals that don't like each other very much in Bedlam. And, well, once you get to the postseason, anything can happen, but Oklahoma, I think they'll be a heavy favorite just about every game they suit up for this year.
Well, the thing about Oklahoma in the postseason, Chris, you go back to 2017, and then, of course, again last year, they have struggled. I mean, in 2017, I remember this, the first game of the NCAA tournament for OU, they lost to North Dakota State. A huge upset, pushing OU into the loser's bracket. They then had to win, what was it, the 6 games in the 2 days, get out of there. You head to the Women's College World Series, and that's when OU really went rampant and got that 17-inning win over Florida in that crazy game. As Ellen just needed to square that one up a little bit more fair. That was the longest hit that we've seen from Texas Tech this weekend. But then last season, right, they lose game 1 of the World Series in pool play to JMU. Of course, they lose game one of the final to FSU. So something tells me that Oklahoma will not go undefeated this season. It's so hard, right, to win every single game. Sometimes a loss in a double elimination format, as Coach Gasso has talked about so many times, can really wake a team up.
Now strike three swinging.
13-0 into the top of the third, and Grace Lyons making her third at-bat. She homered in the first for the 17th time this season, and the 4th time this weekend for Lyons. The phenom All-American shortstop reached on an error in the second as Rancy Willis, who got an out, allowed a couple unearned runs last inning, is the 5th arm out of the Tech bullpen. Pardon me, the 4th. It was Carlin for an out, Raines for an out. Keel got 3 outs, allowed 5 unearned runs. And then Willis getting the last out in the second as Lyons takes and the count moves to 3-0. Donahue on deck in the form of Coleman's spot, and then Elam followed by Boone. As curveball misses off the outside corner from Willis. And the merry-go-round begins again as, for the first time today, in fact, OU gets the leadoff runner on base. A game that started
Number 12, Mackenzie Donahue.
by the freshman Carlin. Another freshman in the circle now in Willis as Donahue comes to the plate. Allo's 1-out double, followed by Hanson's 2-run shot. Lyons went back-to-back with Hanson. Boone added an RBI double in the first. Johns, an infield single that has since held up, originally called an error. And then Brito's RBI double spelled Raines. 6-run first, 7-run second for Oklahoma as we see Donahue at the plate now. Hit by pitch and a double yesterday as Orick crossed the diamond. Wow, nice throw there as she even looked back the speedy Lions to make sure that she didn't take a wide turnaround second. And there's 1 out here in the third. Things certainly have hit a little bit of a lull here. After a pair of 11-0 wins, Chris, Oklahoma struck for 13 in the first 2 innings, and we're in a spot here for those unfamiliar. No matter the score, you've got to play 5.
Yep.
Hence the 20-0 win last season in this matchup. Of course, Texas Tech would need a lot of magic, but they have beaten one #1 team in the program's history, coming back in '98 against Arizona, but 1-13 all-time against the top-ranked team in the nation. A good pitch at the knees, but it's not going to be a strike call, says Jason Smith, as Lindsey Elam 0 for 2 today. In fact, the only player in the lineup to not reach base. We'll see what the right-handed hitting first baseman can do as she rips one just foul. Gasso was begging for fair there. The count moves to 2-1.
All these freshmen, Rancy Willis, Erna Carlin, among others, getting a chance to see what it's like to face the top hitters, not only in the country here, but in the sport.
Yeah, certainly up there in the best lineup that softball's ever seen, right? I mean, last season, Oklahoma hit .421, which set their own program record. They're down at about .395 right now in batting average, but averaging just shy of 10 runs per game. A certainly silly number. As Elam pops one into short center field, this is going to be a tough play. It falls in Bermuda's triangle out there. And another softly hit single for OU. Actually, should be a double as Elam hustles to second base.
Yeah, seeing eye double, just plopping it in there.
And you got to credit that, right? Yeah. She's got the C on her jersey for a reason. You're up 13-0, and you hustle to second on a pop-up. We want to apologize for technical difficulties on the score bug, so we'll keep giving you that update. 13-0 with 1 out here in the third. Second and third for Willis now. And Riley Boone comes to the plate. No, it'll be a pinch hitter, in fact. And we saw Coleman pinch running earlier in the series as Taria, the freshman from Houston. She was only the number 5 recruit, according to extra innings. As she takes her 2 hits in 8 at-bats. As Willis fires one to the backstop, and a mercy shown there to not race home with Lyons and a little speed at third base. We've seen that all weekend long, and you got to kind of tip your hat to that.
Well, you tip your hat, but it also might be the approach that Oklahoma is taking. We're not going to make outs on the bases. We're not going to gift you any outs. You're going to have to beat us with your pitcher against our hitters.
Coleman just foul on a pop-up down the right field line. Count evens up at 1-1. Coleman's last hit came in mid-March against Sam Houston. Her only RBI of the season at Houston back in the first week of the season, February 19th. For the two-sport athlete, played basketball as well. One of the top catchers in the class of 2022 as Coleman takes outside. Count 2-1. Johns' spot is on deck, followed by Brito here in the bottom of the lineup. 3-hopper over to Villa, and it's a run-scoring ground out. Second RBI of the season for the freshman Coleman, and the lead is 14-0. So we will see Jana Johns come to the plate now. Johns was hitless in the first 2 games of the series, but has a couple base hits today. Batting .320 on the season with 2 RBIs on that blast in the second. A line drive shot that got out in a hurry. Runner at third, 2 outs, and a 14-0 lead here in the 3rd inning for Oklahoma. We've seen 4 of the 6 Texas Tech arms today, with the senior Morgan Hornback, who got hit pretty hard on Friday, still available, and Kendall Fritz, who was hit hard yesterday. Also still waiting in the wings, as Rancy Willis, in her 2nd inning of work, has allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, all 3 extra base hits for Oklahoma, and that's all they've done today. Just a couple singles for OU's 13 hits. There's a great changeup, moving the count to 1-2. So a chance for Willis to get out of the inning with just 1 run allowed here in the 3rd, which would be a mighty feat. Jana Johns, South Carolina transfer, all conference back in 2019. Had that big home run in Game 2 of the World Series final last season. She pops one out to medium infield to the left side, and Love makes the grab. So as Jordy Ball takes her 16 pitches into the 3rd, and a swinging strike to Grumbo.
Yeah, she's been efficient. She's let her defense work behind her. I don't think Oklahoma is minded. They've spent very little time on defense and a lot of time running up and down that lineup.
She's been the defense as well. A couple assists in the circle for Ball. As Grumbo pops one, how about that? Now a put out. 18 pitches, Chris, 14 of them strikes. Jordy Ball continuing to dazzle. I'll tell you this, I was a part of the Florida Gator broadcast team when Kelly Barnhill was a freshman, and I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff.
Batting for the Red Raiders, number
Barnhill,
5,
of course, led
Riley.
Florida to that championship loss to Oklahoma in 2017.
That was a pretty quick game.
Those games were, I think it was a tad over 5 hours. My voice was in a little worse shape than it is now.
But I tell you what, 5 hours and so many intense moments.
Twice down to their last strike, and I'm sure Oklahoma fans watch it at least once a year. No, I don't know about that, but Shea Knighton, of course, won the ESPY for that phenomenal outing, big double. And when I first saw Jocelyn Allo back in 2018 as a freshman, I remember having very succinct flashbacks to Fale Avu and her phenomenal World Series back in 2017. She hit the big home run, I believe it was in the 14th, just to see Florida tie it up down to their final strike. Last year was a little bit less dramatic, but still a come from behind Game 3 win. A series against Florida State that, I'll tell you what, wouldn't count against having a rematch this season in OKC, because despite the 2 losses this weekend to Virginia Tech, FSU has looked very good. And as I say that, we check the score, and Vatek has come from behind.
Wow.
Now leads 6-4 as Love goes down on strikes. 3rd strikeout of the game for Ball. 2 outs here in the 3rd. And just like that, Jordy Ball might mess around, make some history on top of it, but we'll see if Patty Gasso even lets her go all 5 innings as the 28th year head. So Nicole May is the new pitcher for Oklahoma as Blythe welcomes her with a first pitch swinging grounder to first. There as the top of the lineup in Jennings and then Allo coming to the plate here with a 14-0 edge. Nicole May, who picked up the 5-inning win in the shutout over Tulsa on Wednesday, is now in the circle for Oklahoma. As Tiare Jennings, 1 for 2 with a double down the left field line. She scored a run back in the 2nd, struck out and walked in the lengthy 1st inning. Let's go over a couple scores. This top 25 scoreboard had a wild one in Columbus as Northwestern, ranked 6th, took down Ohio State, ranked 21. I saw Maeve Nelson hit a grand slam in that one. Mentioned Virginia Tech leads by 2 over Florida State in the top 5 battle as Jennings pops one down the left field line and fair for a single. Tennessee and Georgia in a top 20 matchup. Georgia leads 3-1. OK State with a 2-1 advantage here in the 4th in Ames, where Texas Tech will head next weekend. And now we'll get another Jocelyn Allo at bat. 20 home runs, including 1 today. The 4th of the series. 108 in the goated career. And so many times Jennings has been on base. 48 runs scored for Tiare. Allo tomahawks that one well foul. 1-1 the count now. She's hitting .523, Chris, and it is so much fun to watch. Of those 46 hits for Jossie, 31 of them extra base hits. Still looking for her first triple, though. Now she nearly gets hit. Jennings staying at first there. Another pitch tails inside from Willis. You know, when Rancy Willis gets older, she can tell her kids, her grandkids, that she got to face Jocelyn Allo, and we'll see if she can come out of it with an out. 3-1 pitch. Well, she didn't let up a home run, so as much of those stories are exaggerated in old age, Jocelyn Allo works walk number 35, and there are 2 on with 1 out in a 14-0 lead. Texas Tech has gone 9 up, 9 down at the plate.
For the Sooners, number 17, Sophia Nugent.
So we see Sophie Nugent's 12th at-bat of the season. 2 hits, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, 1 home run for the freshman catcher. Had of Seal Beach out in California as Nugent takes high. Quickly 2-0 as Willis gets a quick visit in the circle now. Taking a look more about Sophia Nugent, the number 3 player in the class of 21 by Softball America, number 1 catcher in California. Both parents, collegiate athletes. Dad Sean played baseball at Cerritos College and then Chapman University. Mom Audrey played college basketball at Saddleback College out in Arizona. As Nugent takes get me over curve, 2-1. Tails low, 3-1 now, with runners at first and second. Allo at first, Jennings at second. In fact, Allo and Jennings each have exactly 48 runs scored. How about that? Talk about parallels. As a good screw fills the count to Nugent with Lions waiting on deck. Nugent pokes one, just off the diving glove of Jackson. That should score at least one as Sophia Nugent has her first double of the season. Oklahoma pushes the lead. Allo goes first to third and it's 15-0.
Sooners, number 3, Grace Lyons.
So on the 3-2 pitch, Sophia Nugent stretches the lead, and I think Oklahoma broke our scoreboard. As we continue to work to get that fixed, Rancy Willis's day is all but a home run in the first, reached on an error in the second, a walk in the third, and 3 runs today. As last season's Defensive Player of the Year, second-team All-American, who now has a 6-game hitting streak, actually 7 with the home run today. The longest hitting streak on the team. Chopper to third, Orick, the easy way to first, and it's an RBI ground out. The first time that Lyons has been retired in this series. And the lead is 16-0. Chris, minor victories as Morgan Hornback comes in and gets the first out. Super senior with a couple saves under her belt for Oklahoma. Donahue at the plate.
Yeah, they're scored in every inning today.
0-for-1 is Donahue as she tries to scrape across the freshman from third and Nugent. Picked up the RBI double. There we go. We got 16-0 on the score bug. How about this? Oklahoma has only left 3 on base. They have done such a great job driving in. As Donahue, who grounded out to third in the third, evening the count 1-1. When we talk about it, 3 left on base. They had 3 left on base in the first inning of game 1 and left 5 on base in the first 3 innings yesterday. But OU has not stranded anybody. 1-1 pitch. It's a strike on the outer half.
Well, Texas Tech, I tell you, Daniel, I think they could learn a lot from this weekend. And I think they'll be happy that they won't see Oklahoma again until perhaps the conference tournament. We got Iowa State in Ames next week, a Thursday through Saturday series. Midweek at Abilene Christian, in between that and then the Baylor series in Waco, and then it's back here for Texas before heading to Oklahoma City for the Big 12 championships.
Good reactions by Hornback, and Oklahoma does strand 1. They get 2 in. To the bottom of the 4th we go. I'll tell you more to the Rock as Nicole May 5'11" sophomore from California, comes out all freshman last season. And Chris, all she's done is lower her ERA from 2.5 a season ago to a marginal difference of 0.85 this year for May after her 5-inning complete game shutout over Tulsa on Wednesday. Coach Gasso wants to get her a little bit of work here and relieving Ball, getting the first pitch out in the third. Top of the lineup here with Oric, Jackson, and Armijo.
Yeah, you know, Daniel, Oklahoma has a chance to close this regular season in about a month with 3 pitchers at sub-1 ERAs. You look at the rest of Division I softball, I'm not too sure there are 3 pitchers in other programs' history that have finished one season with a sub-1 earned run average. Oklahoma has a chance for at least 3 pitchers that have seen significant time to finish with a sub-1 ERA. I mean, it's hard to believe, it's hard to wrap your head around, but with how good and how talented Oklahoma is, and seeing it on display in person, I mean,
it's awesome. It is awesome. You tip your hat to it. Line out there by Oric to Lyons, and bring up Peyton Jackson now. Jackson hitless in the series. Flew out in that diving grab by Boone to end the game yesterday. A little bit of clerical work. Green filing into first base. Elam's day is done. We saw Grace Green hit the pinch hit 3-run blast yesterday. As this heater misses off the outside corner. Nicole May, 10th in the nation in ERA. Curveball is her go-to pitch, and she's had the most big game experience for this team. Of course, pitching in last season's tournament run. She combined on a perfect game last year with Giselle Juarez and Brooke Vesto, in fact, against Portland State. Hoping to do the same today. May has not allowed an earned run since the Baylor series. Back in mid-March, the non-conference Baylor game, in fact. 18, now 19 straight scoreless innings for May as Jackson takes the walk. First base runner for Texas Tech today. Down 16-0, the Red Raiders can potentially salvage a run.
Place for the Red Raiders, number 78, Carson
Armijo. Wouldn't that be like a minor victory getting out of this series to at least get in the run column today for Tech?
We'll see if Carson Armijo, who has a hit and a walk this series, can do something. It's just her second at-bat of the game. These Texas Tech hitters have been in purgatory all afternoon. Ground ball up the middle, maybe a chance for 2. 6, 4, 3, second double play of the weekend for OU.
Morgan Hornback. Grace Green, Boone, and Johns are scheduled, but we'll see if they all come and hit. Oklahoma put this one out of reach pretty early. They scored 6 times in the first, 7 in the second. 3 runs the last couple innings. Grace Green has 4 hits and 20 at-bats this year. 3 of them have been home runs.
Well, you know, Chris, her chances of hitting a home run are not high because it's not a pinch hit opportunity for Green, is it? She's been inserted into the lineup an inning ago. And all 3 of those home runs, pinch hit variety. So keep an eye on that, Sooner fans, moving into June.
Yeah, what a luxury to, I mean, not that you need her off the bench, but you might at some point. And there is strike 2 from Hornback to level the count. Oklahoma in the midst of a stretch away from Norman. Longhorns are next, then a midweek in Denton against the Mean Green in North Texas. Good ball club out of Conference USA.
It's just hard to believe, Chris, the games that OU hasn't scored 8 or more runs, right? Like how Utah holds them to 2 runs, or UAB, Baylor. Just off days, I guess, at the plate. We haven't had any off days here in Lubbock. And the Texas Tech pitchers have not made it any tougher on the hitters.
Well, that's a leadoff walk to start the 5th inning.
Played for the Sooners,
Back
number 0,
now face
Riley
off
Boone.
against Boone. All Boone has done is go 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs today. And she sends it to left center field. It'll roll out to the wall. Green is around second. And the throw is cut off. Sooners have him at second and third on Boone's 3rd hit today.
Well, it's good to see Riley Boone. You know, I remember that injury she suffered back in that COVID-canceled season. Comes out last season. Similar to this year, right? Not a lot of starts. Only 9 last year for Riley. As you're looking at Green at third base. But she hit .412, did Boone a season ago. And she's hoping to get home and watch her brother Trevor face off against the Sooners in that rubber match out in Stillwater.
Well, that's reached for, popped up, foul territory. Ellie Bailey makes the play, and the base runners stay put, 1 out. So Brito now comes up.
I don't think so.
No, you're right. It's going to be Kaur.
Played for the Sooners, number 27, Hannah Kaur.
She's looking for her first hit. Wouldn't that be fun? Not many things that Oklahoma can strive for in blowout wins. Getting a freshman, her first collegiate hit, could be something to strive. Looking for her first RBI as well. Just 2 at-bats this season for Kaur.
2 at-bats. She has drawn a couple of walks, and she has often been a pinch runner. She's scored 8 times this year, and she has stolen 4 bases. So that tells you she's a blur when she gets a chance to cruise around. A 2-0 count as she faces off against Morgan Hornback of Texas Tech. Oklahoma, they've got the 16 runs on 16 hits. 12 of the hits have been greater than a single. And that's outside, 3-0. Hornback gets a strike in there. It's 3-1. Top 5 matchup that much of the softball world had their eyes on down in Tallahassee has wrapped up. Seminoles come back and salvage the finale at home against Virginia Tech. 8-6. That was the highest ranked ACC series of all time, with the number 5 team and the number 3 team playing each other. Well, Kaur has worked her 3rd walk, and the bases are loaded for Oklahoma.
OK State's pushed that lead to 4-1 now.
Played for the
Looking to
Sooners,
take
number
the
23,
series
T.R.A.
at Iowa
Jennings.
State. Northwestern in the 2nd game of that doubleheader against Ohio State, they jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Big UCLA matchup again tonight against Stanford. Should be fun to watch.
There's a strike. T.R.A. Jennings is still in there. She has reached 3 times today, a walk a double and a single following her first inning strikeout.
Reminder, Oklahoma's season high 20 runs. Scored 20 in the finale against Tech last season as well.
Reached for and poked out to the gap in right center. It's got some carry, and it's a grand slam.
Poked. It did look poked. More like punched.
More like a grand slam. And 20 in the run column. Wow.
I think that's the 16th home run of the series. Yeah, number 16, third for Jennings. She's almost gotten the home run cycle this weekend, Chris. 3-run shot on Friday, 2-run homer yesterday, and the grand slam today. So she's missing the solo jack. Silly. And now it's the GOAT coming up. What does Hornback do to her?
Jocelyn Allo. Allo has been on 3 times, a double, a homer, and a walk. On the outside edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. That home run off the bat of Jennings, her 3rd of the weekend.
Kansas leads Baylor 3-1. Some other Big 12 scores for you. Those of you still tuned in, we're happy to be with you.
Allo! Goodbye! Her 2nd of the day. Number 109 makes it 21-0. Down the runway, into the teammates. Oklahoma continues to crush it today.
Well, that one went very, very far, Chris. Texas Tech just unable to find any answers. We haven't seen Kendall Fritz today. Doesn't look like we will, as Hornback's just out there on the island. Most runs scored in a game by Oklahoma now, this season at least.
Sammy Ward has big visions of what she can make this Texas Tech program. These are going to be the bittersweet moments she looks back at if she can get the Red Raiders towards the top of the Big 12. It's not easy to out-recruit Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas, programs like that have had much success. But Sammy Ward thinks that her and her staff, they can, through the portal and through recruiting at the high school and junior college level, assemble a group that can eventually make some noise here in the conference.
There's a good off-speed pitch by Hornback. How about the 2nd back-to-back home run of the day? And the 9th of the season for Oklahoma, 3rd of the weekend going back-to-back.
21 runs, a season high, surpassing the 20 against Iowa, as you mentioned, Dan. Hey, there's the 2nd out.
We've been looking for that.
Yeah, Nugent down swinging. Here's Lyons one more time this weekend.
Yeah, Lyons hit her 3rd career grand slam in the 10-run win last Friday against UAB. And then the Saturday game was tight, 0-0 into the 6th against the Blazers when Coleman and Elam went back-to-back. Hasn't been that at all this weekend. There was one moment, Chris, on Friday, right? When the game, actually I think it was yesterday, Who knows? All these games blending together, but I think it was 1-0. Oklahoma bottom 2 with second and third and 2 outs for Riley Love, and that was the chance.
Right.
And now run rule number 29. Actually, run rule number 30, I believe, is in sight.
Put 20 on Tech last year, and also didn't allow the Red Raiders to score. Tech has 3 more outs to try and find that run column. Much more respectable game in the conference tournament. 8-2 win for Texas Tech, rather for Oklahoma over Texas Tech. 4 times last season, Oklahoma scored more than 21 runs in a game. Believe it or not, they scored 33 runs in a win over New Mexico last season. There's a base hit, bang through into center field off the bat of Lyons, who continues her monster stretch.
She is special. I mean, everyone's going to talk about Allo, as they should, and of course Snow has been phenomenal to transfer from Auburn. But what Grace Lyons has done in her career, right, stretched across, now a senior. Of course, getting to watch these players up close gets you very excited to see them on the big stage. You watched them in the tournament and the World Series last year, but now getting to see day in, day out, the grit and determination. You could very easily be satisfied with an 8-0 win every day, but Oklahoma has come out and not wasted any at-bats this weekend.
One ball, one strike on Donahue, who has gone 0 for 2 in this game. Did not start, but got in there early as this one got out of hand early. Five more across for the top-ranked Sooners. They now have a season-high 21 in the run column. Here comes the 2-1, and that's hit hard but foul. 2-2. "19 hits, 14 of them for extra bases. And they've done a ton of damage with 2 outs. 9 for 13 today with 2 outs. Pretty good. Near 700 batting average.
That's got to be the most impressive stat of the day. Tech has gotten so close to getting out of innings.
A line shot right to Riley Love. 21-0 over Texas Tech. Nicole May will try and finish off the Red Raiders this weekend. Ellie Bailey, Ariana Vila, Riley Ellen. Red Raiders have had just 1 base runner. Bailey pops it foul, out of play, quickly 0-2.
Core pops into right field. So Donahue, Boone, and Core. It's a pretty speedy outfield to try to keep this no-hitter intact for Oklahoma.
Half swing, and Ellie Bailey is tossed out. 1 gone.
4th strikeout for OU pitching thus far. How about 14 extra base hits? Goodness, after just 1 on Wednesday against Tulsa in the 9-0 win. No home runs hit in that Tulsa game on Wednesday. Things have changed just a bit, right, with the 14 home runs. Here today,
taking advantage of the jet stream here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. See if the big swinging continues into Austin. Texas had that wild one with LSU.
Oh man,
a couple weeks ago.
How about that series?
That was nuts.
I think one of the more thrilling series that we've seen and that was a sweep for the Longhorns over the Tigers. Erased a huge deficit in the finale there in a series that a lot of the softball world had their eyes on. A 2-1 count to Ariana Villa. Nicole May has pitched an inning and 2/3 in relief of Jordy Ball, who was lifted with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Three and 1. Riley Ellen is on deck.
Ellen had the best swing of the day thus far, the foul home run in the 3rd.
Full count.
Tech was no hit a couple weeks ago in Oklahoma State.
Can Texas Tech be better? Absolutely, but no need to be discouraged going to Iowa State. You have to hit the reset button here pretty quickly with Thursday through Saturday series coming up. Team will leave on Wednesday as Villa sends it the other way into foul territory. And Donahue makes the catch, 2 outs.
Hey Chris, as tough as it sounds, you know, you open up the schedule before a season starts for a team like Texas Tech, Kansas, even Iowa State sometimes, and you almost have to hope to get 1 win out of the 9, right? You gotta kind of go into it and say, okay, we're gonna play Oklahoma State 3 times, Texas 3 times, and Oklahoma 3 times.
Batting for the Red Raiders, number 3, Riley Ellen.
Texas Tech is gonna go 0 for 6 against the 2 Oklahoma schools, and of course finish up at home. That'll be our next broadcast at the end of the month.
Yeah, and that'll be it for the home schedule.
So Riley Ellen, the last chance here with just 1 base runner, the walk by Jackson last inning against May.
The 1-1. 1 and 2.
43 runs to 0 following last season, which was 40 to 0 in favor of OU in this series. I'll tell you what, Texas Tech can't wait for Texas and Oklahoma to get out of the Big 12.
Strike 3 swinging. Jordy Ball and Nicole May have combined for a no-hitter. Top-ranked Oklahoma sweeps Texas Tech in Lubbock, and they mash in the finale 21-0.